The time is now 10 past 8 on this Wednesday, and that means, of course, it's time to focus on business because we've got our business editor, Mike Eppel, back with us today. It's a pleasure to have you rejoin.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well, thanks. Okay, let's get the bad news out of the way. We heard about some major first quarter losses from Air Canada just a few days ago. They're not the only ones.
Yeah, Suncor last night put out their quarterly earnings updates, and the numbers, Sarah, no surprise, lots of red ink. They've been writing down asset values because the price for oil is cratered, so they have to adjust, the expectations of what these companies, what these properties are going to be worth, and that results in a whole bunch of red ink. At the same time, they are cutting their dividend payment by 55% to shareholders. They're scaling back capital spending by another $400 million. That's on top of the billion in capital spending they've already curtailed. So, they're the bellwether for the Canadian industry right now. Still no discussion really about more government assistance for the energy sector. We will wait and see. The share price is steady this morning. Price for oil has been up 3 days in a row this morning, dropping back to below $24 a barrel on the U.S. benchmark.
Let's talk more about government assistance. The Trudeau government unveiling their support for the Canadian agriculture sector. Farmers not happy with that number.
No, the Federation of Agriculture was looking for $2.6 billion with a B dollars in assistance for the food supply chain, whether it is the processing plants, of course, which are dealing with COVID-19 outbreaks, or the farmers themselves, which can't get their livestock to the market. Therefore, they might have to cull some of the herds. They're not selling anything. It's just the spiral, right? And consumers ostensibly will likely have to pay for all of this at some point, whether it's through shortages of beef and poultry or what have you. At the same time, the Trudeau government on Tuesday said, okay, we've got $252 million for various parts of the agri-food business. They were looking for $2.6 billion again. And then, a couple of days ago, the Trudeau government announced $850 million for the WHO and the global fight against the pandemic. That's fine, but the argument is that has nothing specific to do with the Canadian economy here and now and getting food on the table. So that's the argument, and it's going to be an interesting question period today in Ottawa. It's actually, there are going to be MPs in-house, in the House of Commons, not virtual, and hey, can you hear me now? And turn your mic off and all that kind of nonsense. Anyway, they're going to do that today, so it's going to be a raucous affair, likely, with the opposition questioning the government's tactics.
Right. Yeah, that's right, because Wednesday is the only day of the week that MPs are actually physically sitting at the House. Right. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems odd, especially given that there are like 300 MPs. I know they're not all there.
Well, it's just a kind of a skeleton group for the most part. They aren't, not everybody is there. Just representation from each party, and they are socially distanced within the House of Commons, sitting 6 feet, if not then more so, apart from one another.
They'll have to yell that much louder at each other. I'll see you tomorrow, Mike.
Oh, great.
Thanks. You can hear more from our business editor, Mike Eppel, on 660, but right now at 13 minutes past 8, let's take a peek at the markets.
This portion of BT is brought to you by 660 News, Calgary's breaking news, weather, and traffic station.